Joining us is Global Situation Room President and the former diplomat for the Obama administration, Brett Bruen, to talk about this. Brett, first of all, we've seen another Democrat come forward today and urge Joe Biden to step aside. So that's 2 in 2 days. What do you think? Should he stay on or should he step down?
I don't say with any sense of satisfaction it is time for Biden to step aside. He is someone who served this country admirably, and his record speaks for itself. He can walk off into the sunset with a whole lot of pride. But what we've seen over the course of the last several months, not just the last week, quite frankly, has raised question marks. And there cannot be question marks when you are running against Donald Trump. We need to put forward a stronger candidate. We need to put forward a new vision. Well,
you're also the president of the United States. And you've got access to the nuclear codes. You've got all kind of that stuff. And, you know, if you're not mentally sharp, you can't do the job, right?
Well, I think those obviously are question marks that after his performance in the debate last Thursday loom large over the White House. And yet, look, there are plenty of examples that Biden has a strong command of his cognitive abilities. Nonetheless, I just think that, and obviously there are several Democratic leaders that agree with me, that we must have a better candidate. And so all of this notion, well, it's just going to get too messy if we open up the process again, quite frankly, ignores the fact that it's pretty darn messy as it is, and it will get messier up to the Chicago convention.
Yeah, I mean, either way, it's going to be messy. And look, I'm looking at things too from afar as an observer. I just think politically, if Joe Biden steps down, there's no way they can't choose Kamala Harris politically, right? Do you agree, or can they get around that? Because, you know, they will isolate a huge section of the Democrat Party if they turn their back on her.
I don't necessarily think it has to be Vice President Kamala Harris. And as viewers in Australia may already be familiar with, she isn't the most popular political figure here. And yet, as you point out, obviously, there is a base of support, including a strong base of support within the Democratic Party. And removing someone who is a person of color, a woman from consideration is just, you know, political kryptonite, especially within the Democratic Party. But at the same time, Biden has essentially created these conditions. Kamala has to go along with him. And so you may see governors like Gavin Newsom in California, Gretchen Whitmer in Michigan, Andy Beshear down in Kentucky, who start to put themselves, or their supporters start to put them forward. And I think, quite frankly, those are our strongest candidates going into November.
Brett, you teach crisis communication at university, right?
At Georgetown, you bet.
Yeah. So I'm just watching this press conference this morning with Karine Jean-Pierre, and she's still maintaining Joe Biden is good for the race. He's not going to drop out. But there's also these question marks now about excuses that are changing with regards to his poor showing at the debate last Friday. First he was crook, now he's got jet lag, even though it was 12 days after arriving back from Europe to the United States before the debate. How do you think the White House is handling this crisis?
Well, you mentioned before, you're a parent, I'm a parent. We're familiar with the 101 excuses that your children can make for why they didn't do their chores, why they didn't turn in their homework on time. And I think that's echoing what we are seeing from the White House and from the Biden campaign over the last several days. And, you know, it is not, to your point, effective crisis communication. You don't want to be putting forward, you know, a new rationale, a new reason every day. And quite frankly, they just need to be more transparent about this. Somebody raised at the press briefing at the White House today, why doesn't the president take the 100 steps from the Oval Office into the Brady press briefing room there at the White House and answer some questions? Instead, what we're getting are, you know, as you were just showing before, some of these formal, these very well orchestrated, prepared, teleprompter-driven conversations with the president, not an authentic exchange.
No, that's right. And he pretty much always goes off the teleprompter these days, except for that debate, and look what happened there. Good to see you. Thank you so much for your time this morning. We'll get you on again as this story develops.